Don't touch that dial. Leave it at FLFM 97.7. Don't touch that dial. 97.7.
Welcome to the News Hour.
It's 12 noon. Good afternoon, family member, and welcome to the news. Be more responsible, stop killing the environment, stop pipeline vandalism and indiscriminate disposal of all kinds of waste. I am Rosemary Eze. In the highlight, newly created army divisions get new general officer commanding. Controversy through the presence of Lagos State Police Commissioner at a political rally. Rivers State University Teaching Hospital establishes Department of Cardiology. Plus, Saudi Arabia joins US in fighting against Iran-backed militia in Iraq. Details come up shortly. And thank you for joining us on the news. We'll begin with the report that the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Y.D. Shaubu, has approved the appointment of general officers commanding for newly established Nigerian Army divisions across the country, as the military expands its command structure to strengthen operations across the country. The appointments followed President Bola Tinubu's approval for the creation of 4 additional Nigerian Army divisions as part of ongoing efforts to improve the Army's operational capacity, command and control, and response to emerging security challenges. Under the new arrangement, the 1 Division Kaduna will oversee Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, and Jigawa states, while the 2 Division Ibadan will be responsible for Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, and Ondo states. The 3 Division JAS will cover Plateau, Bauchi, and Gombe states, while the newly established 5 Division Makurdi will take responsibility for Benue, Nasarawa, and Kogi states. The 6th Division Port Harcourt will oversee Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River states, while the 7th Division Maiduguri will remain responsible for Borno and Yobe states. The 8th Division Sokoto will continue to cover Sokoto, Kebbi, and Zamfara states. The newly created 9th Division headquartered in Ilori will be responsible for Kwara and Niger states, while the 10th Division Jalingo will oversee border areas of Taraba and Adamawa states. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu yesterday condemned the midnight massacre of at least 30 residents, including 8 children, in Naridon village of Kauru. Described the act as a barbaric and cowardly act of terror against defenseless people, directed the armed forces, police and intelligence agencies to immediately intensify operations to track down the perpetrators. The President's order was contained in a statement signed by his Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. The President also expressed profound condolences to the bereaved families, Governor Uba Sani, and people of Kaduna State, and reassured the state government and affected communities that the federal government stood firmly with them in their grief. The gunmen reportedly invaded Naridon village around 11 p.m. on Sunday, firing indiscriminately at residents before setting homes and shops ablaze. Survivors said the attackers operated for hours, leaving behind widespread destruction, grieving families, and scores of displaced residents. A video circulating on social media has sparked widespread reactions after it showed the Lagos State Commissioner for Police, CP Tijani Fatai, attending the inauguration of the City Boy Movement's Lagos State Chapter Executive Committee on Tuesday. The footage, which has gone viral, showed CP Tijani arriving at the venue in Ikeja, exchanging pleasantries with dignitaries and walking through the gathering alongside other attendees and security personnel. In another clip, the police commissioner is seen in full uniform interacting with participants wearing caps bearing Bola Tinubu's campaign logo and initials ST, widely associated with Sheyi Tinubu, the president's son. The City Boy Movement is a youth-led socio-political group aligned with President Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, focusing on grassroots mobilization, youth empowerment, and support for APC-aligned candidates ahead of the 2027 general elections. The Lagos chapter inauguration reportedly included pledges to mobilize millions of votes in the southwest. Patients in need of cardiovascular diagnosis and specialized cardiac care in River State will no longer have to travel long distances to access advanced care. Chief Medical Director of River State University Teaching Hospital, RSUTH, Professor Chizindu Aliko, made this known at the 2026 Cardiology Day celebration in River State. Professor Aliko said the establishment of the Department of Cardiology in RSUTH marks the beginning of a comprehensive cardiovascular center that will provide specialized system for patients' care, research, training, and innovation.
It is our contribution towards reducing the enormous burden of cardiovascular diseases within River State, the Niger Delta, and Nigeria as a whole. Our vision is clear to ensure that patients no longer have to travel great distances in search of advanced cardiovascular diagnostics and specialist cardiac care.
The Chief Medical Director explained that the launch of CT coronary angiography and speckle tracking services would improve early detection of heart diseases, enhance accurate diagnosis, and ultimately save more lives.
Cardiology is increasingly moving beyond simply identifying structural heart disease to detecting functional abnormalities even before symptoms become irreversible. Every mention of them today becomes meaningful only because dedicated healthcare professionals possess.
Port Harcourt say the recurring floods in the area has continued to adversely affect their daily lives, damaging homes and goods, disrupting transportation, reducing business activities, and leading to financial losses. Those who spoke to Family Love FM on the situation attributed it to poor drainage systems, blocked waterways, and indiscriminate waste disposal. One of the residents, Mrs. Yvonne Eze, said the area is usually flooded whenever it rains, calling on the River State government to take urgent action to address the situation.
Whenever it rains, the whole street does other valuables, right? This flooding will stop because anytime it rains, we are in serious problem.
A business owner must leverage infrastructure around commercial areas and
the flood keeps the customers away because they cannot access our shops. Sometimes we close for the day because the water is too much. We lose a lot of money during the rainy season as well.
You are listening to Family Love FM News. The news continues in just a moment. Still to come, federal government exceeds 2024 borrowing target.
Stay up to date with the biggest news and current affairs. Listen to the news at dawn at 6:30 a.m. The news at noon today.
Welcome back, and now the rest of the news in business. The Budget Office of the Federation has disclosed that the federal government has exceeded its 2024 borrowing target by 4.79 trillion naira after a wider than projected budget deficit forced it to raise significantly more than financing than originally planned. According to the latest fourth quarter and consolidated budget implementation report for 2024, the federal government's new borrowings rose to 12.62 trillion naira, exceeding the budgeted 7.83 trillion naira by 4.79 trillion naira or 61.2%. The higher borrowing requirement followed a substantial revenue shortfall, which posed the fiscal deficit to 13.51 trillion naira, well above the approved deficit of 9.18 trillion naira. The report showed that aggregate federal government revenue stood at 20.98 trillion naira compared with the budget estimate of 25.88 trillion naira, representing a shortfall of 4.90 trillion naira. And the foreign sense, Saudi Arabia has joined the U.S. in carrying out a strike against an Iranian-backed militia in Iraq, a potential escalation of the Middle East conflict. U.S. Central Command said the strikes were against Iran-allied terrorists that the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps directed to attack U.S. forces and Saudi energy infrastructure. The statement did not name the militia. However, the Popular Mobilization Forces said at least 10 of its members had been killed. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps also said it had hit 3 oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz, according to the Tasnim news agency. And then sport. The Malawian female national football team, the Scorchers, yesterday ended Nigeria's proud record of never losing to a debutant team at the CAF Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON since the competition began in 1998. Playing their first match at the Continental Finals, the Scorchers made a historic statement on their tournament debut as they stunned the 10th-time African champions at AI Madina Stadium in Rabat. 3 second-half goals from Temwa Chawinga and her sister Tabita Chawinga ensured Malawi defeated Nigeria 3-2. Rashidat Ajibade and Uche Nakano scored for the Super Falcons against Malawi. The encounter against Malawi was Nigeria's 18th match against a tournament debutant. Before the Malawi game, the Super Falcons had never lost to a WAFCON debutant in their previous 17 matches, winning 16 and drawing 1. However, the record has now been broken by a courageous Malawi team who recorded a deserved 3-win against the Super Falcons on Tuesday night. And that's our package for you, family member. But before we go, here are the main points. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Y.D. Shaibu, has approved the appointment of new General Officer commanding for the newly created Army Divisions. Rivers State University Teaching Hospital has established Department of Cardiology.